Timotab, and today I'm going to solve Don't Look Me in the Mouth by 99% Sneaky. I am continuing my birthday puzzle series, and this one was specially set for the occasion by, of course, 99% Sneaky, so thank you very much for that. And of course, Don't Look Me in the Mouth is clearly a reference to this being a gift horse. That's very nice, I like it. And of course we have references to 54 and 1971 and 1014 or 1410 depending on where you're from. Okay. It'll be the first link in the description if you would like to try it for yourself. And let's have a look at the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we're going to place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every box. For the pair of digits separated by a black dot, one is double the other. The digit in the grey circle is odd. Digits in cages sum to the number in the top left corner. So those two will sum to 5. Each set of 3 consecutive digits along the medium thickness light brown line must contain one low digit from 1, 2, 3, one medium digit 4, 5, 6, and one high digit 7, 8, 9. So if this were a low digit such as 1, and that were a 5, this would have to be from 7, 8, or 9. So that would be one way of starting out, filling out the line. Okay. Adjacent digits along a thin orange line must differ by 4 or more. So if this were a 3, for example, this would have to be a 7, 8, or 9. Adjacent digits along a thick green line must differ by 5 or more. So if this were a 3, this would have to be an 8 or a 9. Okay, I am going to restart the puzzle to reset the timer, and let's begin. Okay. Given it's taking up so much space, I am going to start with this line. So I am going to assign some colors to this line. Now, I'm going to call this one green. I don't know whether that is low, medium, or high. Okay, but it's going to be one of those sets. So every green cell will either be, that I mark on the grid, will either be all low, all medium, or all high. Now, by the rule about the line, if this cell cannot be the same as green, because that would be either 2 lows together, 2 mediums together, or 2 highs together, but I need 3 different entropies, as that would be called, along those 3 cells. So I can call that one purple. This one needs to be the 3rd entropy. Now, those 3, I've got a purple and a blue, so this one must be green. And if we actually follow that logic along, we'll figure out that every 3rd cell has to be the same color. So I can go ahead and that one, that one, that one, that one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They should all be green. Let's just double check that looks right. It appears to. And then purples come after the greens going in this direction. So those are all purple. And these are all, hang on, that one's not purple, this one is. Good thing I caught that. That would have been problematic if I had not. All right. So that is our coloring our line. Okay. What else can I do? So I'm actually going to color when we know whether it's low, medium, or high, as dark blue for low. High is going to be orange, that's 7, 8s, and 9s. And then I will use yellow for middlies, I think, or possibly light green, I think. So this 4 cage has to be 1 and 3. That's the only way to make that cage. So those are both low digits. And then that tells me that purple cannot be low. Because if purple were low, I would have 4 low digits in this row, and there are only 3 of them. Okay. This digit is has a number of different constraints on it. So let's have a look at that. Okay. It can't be 9 or 8. Because if it were 9 or 8, then the 10 cage would be definitely busted. If this was 7, in order to make the 10 cage work, this would be a 1-2 pair. But if that was 7, then this would have to be a 1 or a 2, but it couldn't be because of the 1-2 pair in the 10 cage. So this is not a high digit in our 3 tiers for the entropy. So, can this be a middly digit? Okay, well, it can't be a 6, because if that were a 6, then this would have to be a 1-3 pair to fill up the 10, but that would be a 1 by the green line, because 1 is the only digit that can go next to a 6 on a green line. So, and it can't be a 5. We can never place a 5 on a green line because the other digit can't be 0 or less or 10 or more. So that is from 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Where does that leave us? This must be from 6, 7, 8, or 9 in order to be at least 5 away. Oh, now that is exceedingly nice and exceedingly clever, I think. Yes. If this were a middly digit, it would be a 4. Or conversely, if this were 4, it would be a middly digit. This would also have to be a middly digit. But what would it be? Well, we can't put a 5 on a line. It can't be a 4 because a 4 is here. It would have to be a 6. But if that's a 6, then that's a 1 by the German whisper line logic. But that can't be a 1 because of this. So this is not a 4. And we can convert all of our dark green cells into dark blue because they are low. And that now is a 2. And that sees a 1 and a 2, so that's a 3. That is a 1 or a 2. That's 1 or 3. That's a 2 there. We can do that. All right, in this cage, these are either 1, 4 or 2, 3. There's at least one low there. I don't see an obvious. If that's 2, 3, then that's 1, that's 3, that's 2, and that's 3. So this can't ever be a 2. Is that right? If that's a 2, 3 pair, that has to be a 1. That makes this a 3, and that's not a 3. And if it's a 1, 4 pair, then it's not a 3. Okay, so yes, that can't be a 3, and that can't be a 2. If that's a 1, 4 pair, then That's 2 or 3, but I don't think we know the order here. But one of those would be a 1, so that would not be a 1. If that's a 2-3 pair, that's a 1, that's a 3, that's a 1. So that's never a 1. If that's a 2-3 pair, that's 1, which makes that 1, and that's not 1. And if that's a 1-4 pair, then one of those is a 1 and one of those is a 1, again making that not a 1. Okay. I think then let's have a look at this orange line. That is 1, 2, or 3. We can put 6, 7, 8, 9 up here. Okay, at least 4 away. So that gives us 5 or more for both of those two. Okay, let's have a look here. Now, if this were a 5, this could nominally be a 9 or a 1, but let's consider 9. If this were 5 with a 9 here, what would that cell be? The only digit that would be 5 away from 9 that's in this group is a 5, but that would mean that there would be 2 5s together. So that cannot be a 9, and that means that it's got to be 5 or less. And it's not a 2. If this were a 5, that would both have to be 9. Okay, that gives us a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple in the row. Okay. That still seems reasonable. If that's 4, that's an 8, 9 pair. Let's see if there's any interaction with this. Right, if that's a 1, 4, then that's 3, and that's 2. And if that's a 2, 3 pair, then that's 1, making that 4. So that's not a 1, and that's not a 3. And these two, or the other way of thinking about it is that these two must add up to 5 just as these two do. So that's 3 or 4, which is very nice because now 5 and 6 are too close. So that's not 5 or 6. They are from 7, 8, and 9, and they are high digits. So I can mark those as orange. And that means that teal is not high, and we know it's not low because dark blue is low, so teal must be orange. No, must not be orange. Teal must be middly. And we said that we were going to make those light green, and that means that purple is high. There we go. And that is very, very nice, resolving that. So that is 7, 8, 9. That's from 1, 2, 3, and 4. Still don't know whether that is 3 or 4. Okay. That is 8 or 9. So that is at most 5, but it can't be 1, 2, or 3. So that's 4 or 5, and that makes it middly, which is green. Okay. If that's 5, could that be a 1? If that's 1, that's 3, that's 1. That would be 2. That would be 4. That would be... Right, if that's a 1, then that's 3, that's 2, that's 4, that's 4, that's 1, but if that's 3, that's 1. So that can't be a 1. And so that means that it's not on the lower end of possibilities for the Dutch whisper line, the orange line. So if that's a 5, that's a 9. If that's a 4, that's an 8 or 9. So that is 8 or 9 and orange. It's a high digit. Seven, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. Okay, that is 7, 8, or 9. So this is 6 or less. If that's a 6, that's a 1. But that can't be a 1 because it's not a low digit. In fact, that's a middly digit. That's 4 or 6. By being a middly digit, can't have a 5 on a green line. But I've already got all of my oranges in this column, so that can't be a high digit. So that now has to be a 1. That is a 6. That means that that's not a 6, and that's a high digit. And that's the third high digit for the box. So this can't be a 6 or an 8, and nor can this. So that's 1, 2, or 2, 4. Okay. So we definitely have a 2 in here. So that's not a 2. This 7 is looking up. That's not a 7. So 7 in this box must be in one of those two. That means that those are not 7s, and that removes 7 as a candidate from there. I meant to remove the 7s, not add corner marks. There we go. That I should have marked as low. That's not a 1. That's not a 1. Okay, in here. Can these be 2 middly digits? And the smallest 2 middly digits are 4 and 5. That makes 9. And that would have to be a 1 to make the 10. So I can't have 2 middly digits in here. That means I must have at least 1 middly digit in here. No. That means I have at least 1 small digit in here, 1 low digit, and therefore that's 1, 2, and then one of those is the third low digit. So this has to be a 4, which is middly. And 4 on a green line must have a 9 next to it. That means that that is not 9. 9 comes out of there. That is 5 or 6. Now, can I have a high digit here? 6 can't. Can I have a 6 in here? Right, I can't have. I can't have a high digit in here. If this is 7, this would have to be 2, 1, and 8 would just break it anyway. So I can't have the other high digit in here. So this must be high and is not 6. So that's 7 or 8. I can't put a 6 in here because I'd need either 2 2s or a 3 1 to go with it. So that must be a 6. And so I have a 5 in here with a 2 3. So the 5 has to go here because that can't be 2 or 3 by sudoku. And that is a 2 3 there. Okay, that's a high digit. That is a middly digit. That makes this a 4. And this is a 1. This 1 is looking down. That's a 3. That makes that 2. This 3 means that that is a 4. That is now 2 and 3, and they are low. That makes this 3 and this 1 and this 1. This is very nice. And this is a middly digit, which is green. Okay. All right, this 14 clue is either 9 5 or 8 6, which is a high digit and a middly digit. But I don't see any particular reason they have to be any of those, any specific way around at the moment. So maybe it's this 19 clue. Let's see what other sudoku I can do. This has to be a low digit to complete the column, and that's a 1. I need a 2 in this column. That has to go there. That means I have a middly digit and a high digit to go in those 2 cells. That's going to be the third middly digit. So I've got 1 middly digit there, I've got 1 middly digit there, and I've got a middly digit there. So this has to be a high digit. There we go. And now I've got a high digit there, a high digit there, and a high digit there. This has to be a middly digit. So that's a 5 6 pair. That 9 is looking down. That's 7 or 8. Okay. By sudoku, there is a 2 right there. And those can't be low digits, so that has to be the last remaining low digit in the column. So that's a 3. These are a high and a middly. And these are a high and a middly. That 1 2 is looking up there. That's a 4. That makes that a 2. So that 2 is low. That 4 is middly. That's the third middly for the row. So that's a 5. We can resolve the 3 and 2 there. Where does 1 go in this box? Can't go in those, so that has to be a 1. One of those has to be a 3, and it can't be that one, so it's that one. And then this is a middly 5. Okay. So these 3 digits are 689. And these two digits are 45. And those are both middly. So if that were 8 and 9, that makes 17, and that would have to be a 2 to make 19. So that is not an 8-9 pair, therefore 6 is in there, and 6 is not there, and that is a high digit. So 6 plus 8 is 14, plus 5 makes 19, 6 plus 9 is 15, plus 4 makes 19. So that's going to work either way round now. All right. I need a 1 in this row, and that has to go there, which makes this high, and it's 7, 8, or 9. Okay. These three digits are 3, 4, 8. And that one's not 3. Okay, 7 is not in there. So 7 is in one of those two. And that with this means that 7 is in one of these two here. But I don't think I know which. Okay. This 4, of course, is telling me that that can't be a 7. That's too close. That's an 8. That's a 7. That's a 9. That's an 8. Should have seen that sooner, because that is going to fix a bunch of things. What else have we done? That's 7 means that that's not a 7, so that is. So that's the 7, which is high. This for the column is now middly, and that is a 4, 5 pair. Okay. This is a high digit by the row, and because of that 7, that's an 8 or a 9, making this a 7. This is a middly digit, and is 5 or 6. That is an 8, 9 pair. Okay. What else have we got going on? 5, 6 is looking across there, so that's not a 6. That's the 6, which is middly, and that's high. Nope, let's try the actual high. That is the two remaining low digits for the row, and we can place those, 1 and 3. That's a 6 because I've got a 4, 5 pair in the row. That is 5 or 9, because I've got 1, 3, and 7. I don't know which yet. That is 4, 5, or 6. It's a middle digit. Have I done all of my 1s, 2s, and 3s? That 3 is looking up there. That's not a 3. That's a 3. I need a 2 in this row, which must go there. That means that these two digits are 6 and 9, and I do know the order of those. That 9 makes this an 8. So that can't be a 5, that has to be a 4. But then that doesn't resolve this. This 6 is looking down, that is not a 6, that's a 4, 5 pair. That makes this 9. The 4, 5 pair in the row. That is a high digit. This must be a middly 6. This must be a 8 or 9, which is high. That's 3 highs in this row. So that one isn't the high digit, that's the middly, and this one is the high. So that is 5 or 6, and that is 8 or 9. This is middly, and by the row is a 5 or 6, and by the column must be a 5. That makes this 6 and this 8, and this is 9. This is 5 here. We can fill in 4 and 5. We can fill in 9 and 8. We can fill in a middly 6 there and a middly 4 there. That resolves my high 8 and my middly 4. This 9 makes this an 8. This is high and 9. This is middly and 5. This is high and 7. We've got all the colouring done. This 5 is looking across here. That's a 4, and that's a 5. This 9 is looking down. That's 8. That's 9. That's 8, and that's 9. This 5 is looking down. That is a 6, and that is a 5. And I have solved the puzzle. Very nice. Thank you very much to 99% Sneaky for the great puzzle. I will say again that I am thoroughly amused by the gift horse. No, I really appreciated that. Thank you ever so much for the puzzle and a way to continue celebrating my birthday. Well, if you like this solve, you can click the like button. You can subscribe to see some more, and I would love to hear your comments. I'm looking forward to next time. Be seeing you.